Welcome to the Brookhaven Circle, a podcast to celebrate and explore the business community of Brookhaven Circle in Memphis, Tennessee. While Brookhaven Circle is known for its many restaurants, you'll find a lot more than good eating on the Circle, where many service and retail entrepreneurs have set up shop. Don't forget to subscribe to the Brookhaven Circle on whatever platform you listen or watch your podcast on. Just search the Brookhaven Circle and hit that subscribe button. The Brookhaven Circle is sponsored by V2 Media. I'm Mark Thompson. Now let's meet the Brookhaven Circle business community. Welcome to the Brookhaven Circle, a podcast about the business community on Brookhaven Circle in Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to meet, engage, and celebrate the entrepreneurs who make up the Brookhaven Circle community. So today we're talking to Terry Panitz with DCI Home. Terry, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. I'm so glad to be here.
We're going to have a lot of fun with this. Let's talk about you for an opener, if you will. Tell me about your journey to the home design business and how you got started and why.
It's been a journey. And I like to say it's an adventure. I always try to put things in the idea of an adventure. And it actually started back in 1978. I won't talk that long about it, but because that's kind of a bit ago, but the Circle really started commercially around that time. And my mother was one of the first ones to purchase a home that she wanted to put a business in. And she had a lot of vision about the future, and she bought it. We cleaned it up, fixed it up, and it became an interior design business, Designer's Choice Interiors. And from there, she had quite a career. It was very strong, and people followed suit and purchased other houses around the Circle and developed into quite a community.
And it is quite a community. There's just, a wide range of businesses and services that you can find here on Brookhaven Circle. Yours is, I think, a little different. I don't know that there's any other interior design and home services businesses on the Circle. So if someone asks you, tell me about DCI Homes, what do you tell them?
I tell them that it is a consignment store. It is an art gallery. It is a retail furniture store. It is sort of a happy place for a lot of people who love just to come and visit and walk around and see something a little different.
And it's absolutely beautiful. And
thank you.
If you've not been inside, you will be stunned at how that space seems to expand once you walk in the door. The first time I went in, I was like, oh, I see there's this room and this room, and oh, wait, there's this, and then there's that, and then it goes way back there.
Well, that was my mother. She was a frustrated builder, and she every year would love to add on another room, and it didn't really have a lot of thought behind it. She would just say, well, I'm in a room over here, or let's put another one over here, or let's expand out here, and it was just fun for her. And so we have sort of a conglomeration of different rooms and even an upstairs. So
right, and it is kind of. I could see that though. If you need more space, let's add another room.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Let's build a little more on the back here.
She didn't worry about the details. She just said, just put a room over here.
I need a room for whatever that might be.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. So talk to me a little bit about the passion that you have for what you do and where that comes from.
Well, I have to preempt that with it wasn't exactly passion at first. I'm sort of the George Bailey of consignment furniture. As you remember in the story from It's a Wonderful Life, he had a father in the banking business, and he didn't exactly want to go into the banking business. He wanted to travel the world.
He wanted
to have his own adventure. And things happened, and it's so, he ended up in his father's business. But the funny thing was, he was actually good at it. And he did, I think, meet a lot of people, helped a lot of people along the way, and it became his passion. And that's sort of the way my story was. My mother was retiring, and people said, well, why don't you take over the business? And I said, no, that's not me. I'm an artist. I'm a painter. I went to Phoenix. I went to Scottsdale. I was going to manage a gallery there. But I ended up coming back home for different reasons. And I thought, well, I'll put my own twist on it. And instead of retail, it became consignment/retail. And so the passion came in for me because I'm an artist, I'm a painter. I found that designing the floor, staging the furniture was an artistic example of my work with furniture instead of paint. Yeah. And so I have fun, and actually sometimes when I'm staging a scene not a scene, but staging the furniture, I'll need a painting or something in back of it, and I'll just go back to my studio and do one real quick. Really? So, yeah, it's fun. It has become my passion. It has become something that I love to do. I love meeting the people. I love engaging with their situations. There are all kinds of stories that are behind every piece that I take in, and I love to tell those.
Well, so I'm going to skip ahead then, because one of the things I might that I was going to ask you about were maybe the most unusual story or a great customer story that you've got of something that has come in, or just someone you've helped with.
The most unusual, well, along the way, I think just meeting the public, you meet unusual people every day. I hate to focus. It's sort of like I have 5 children. I don't have a favorite child. Every one of them is different, and I love them all in different ways. So I would say the same with the public and the people that I meet. I met a lady yesterday to look at her furniture, and she says, I think we need to hug. And we just hugged. I didn't know her, madam, but it seemed appropriate. And so we did. I try to, I think when you get involved with people and their furniture, you become involved a little bit with their lives too. So you get to know them. You get to know their story, and there's stories behind everything. For instance, this piece right here is from a lady who lived in China. Her husband's business took her there, and she had very interesting stories about her life and her times in China. And so I brought that piece in just because it was funny to me. I thought it was the first selfie with a cell phone.
Joey, can you see that piece? Okay, great.
It's not, of course, because it's an older piece, Chinese mud men, but it made me laugh.
That's funny.
So, yes.
Well, you're right, though. To look at it, you would think, oh, they're doing a selfie.
Mm-hmm, I know. And this piece is just an example, because one of my fears is that because I have people bring me things that said, this was in my mother's attic or my grandmother's piece. I don't really know what it is, but will you sell it? I have absolutely no idea the background, what it could be. I'm not an art historian. I'm not an antique dealer. We actually deal more in contemporary things. We sell very few antiques. But my fear is that someone's going to bring me something sort of like the Antique Roadshow situation.
Right.
And it's like really valuable, and I put $25 on it, And so this was an example. I have done research on it. I just had this gut feeling that it was a very valuable piece. So far, I don't know. The story on it. But I kept it because one day I may find out.
Right.
And I've had paintings like that. One was a granddaughter that brought in some paintings from her grandparents. And she said, I know they were art collectors. And but I don't know anything about it. Here, take it, sell it. So one of them, I looked at, I thought, this could be really, really special. And it was signed Eugene Boudin, which Eugene Boudin was the first plein air landscape painter. He was also called the father of Impressionism. I thought, this could be really, really important. I tried to take it over to the Dixon and get them to, they couldn't come up with an answer for me. And so I held on to it, and I did find out that quite a few of his pieces were replicated. And this could be a replication, or it could be an original.
An original.
You know, the father of Impressionism.
Wow.
I know. So that's the kind of thing I'll run into sometimes, and I'll find that it's, very exciting, but it puts a lot of weight and pressure on me to do the right thing for the buyer, the seller, and everyone in between.
And do you have a couple of resources that maybe you can turn to sometimes to help you with that process?
The internet, and just trying to research it myself.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'll call people I know in the business or in a particular business that they could help me. So I had a rug the other day that I thought, oh, this looks really, really good. And, but it could maybe, because I'm not a rug expert. Right. My friend next door, Morteza, who has a restaurant he knows a lot about rugs, and he came over and he made a few phone calls and took pictures, and it was determined that it was Chinese and it wasn't that valuable. It looked like it was, but it wasn't. So.
Well, that's the interesting part is you never know.
No, you never know.
When somebody brings you something, and whether it was from an attic or a basement or back in the closet, you just never know. Right.
But as I said, we don't deal in antiques that much. We do contemporary furniture. We do things. We actually our retail part is very trendy, very new, and up to date. And I think it's backed up by a lot of good names like Henry Don and Drexel and Heckman. Names that have a lot of substance to them. And I think this is what gives us an edge on a lot of furniture stores, because you walk in and everything looks the same because that's what sells. It's all pretty much the same color, the same style, the same look. And that's a good thing. But we're a little different. So you can come into our store and you can see that style as well, but then you can see something that is vintage or that you can have a little fun with, and be a little more eclectic in your interior design.
Well, it's certainly more interesting to go into your place versus any of your run-of-the-mill stores, because not only the furniture, but a lot of the things like you have here, just the interesting accessories, if you will, that you can find.
Right.
Not to mention the paintings, which are beautiful. I just saw Debbie Crawford's work. Debbie's been a friend of mine for years.
Yes. I started to bring one of hers, but they were too large.
Well, we've got a smaller cow.
Oh, you do? Yeah.
A few years ago.
She does great animals.
Great, fun animals.
Yes.
So if you're looking for something interesting, then you have a lot of things to pick from, both from furniture, accessories, the artwork.
And I did start out with a gallery in 2001 in the same location. And for 10 years, I represented about 30 different artists, mainly local, regional, and a few national. And we did very, very well. We sold a lot of paintings. Now it's scaled down. I can't really focus on the gallery as much because I'm doing the furniture. But we still represent about 6 local artists. And some are emerging and some are established, like Debbie. And I find it very interesting, well, fun, just satisfying, working with the young ones or the new ones. They're not always young and new, doesn't always go together. But mentoring them a little bit along the way and giving them some advice, giving them a place to show and working with them. So that's an opportunity.
Well, when I was doing a little research, that just put a smile on my face when look, there's Debbie's cats and some other fun stuff. So you and your team offer a lot of home design services as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about some of that if someone comes to you and says, I need help, I want this to look great, and I just don't have any ideas other than, maybe they've seen something in a magazine, but they need help.
Okay. As far as our ability to actually be an interior designer, Yvonne and I are not interior designers. We have been in the business. I grew up in the business. I'm an artist. I can stage, but I won't say that is who I am. I can connect you with people that I know that would match up, think, with your personality and with your needs. But I will also offer my services just to come out and give you advice. Because sometimes that's all people want, is to say, did I do this right? Does this look okay? And I can say, well, you might want to move that chair over there, or you may want to put a little more color over here, and help them that way.
Right. So though you may not be an interior designer, you certainly have the experience and the feel.
Right. Or bring me your pictures.
Yeah.
And I can make suggestions.
And let me help you.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
That's what it's about, helping that customer. So tell me, who is your customer? Who would be?
Oh, goodness. In marketing, I'm asked that question. That's the first question that you say when you say, how do we target this market? And I can't pin it down because it goes from Collierville to the river. It goes from someone with a dorm room to someone who's moving to assisted living. So I have people that purchase at all phases of their life and from all places, because we do have such a variety of things. We're not just a cookie cutter, this is stamped, this is what you have, and this is our price range. We have a broad price range. We have an interesting look. It does go to the contemporary. We're not a thrift store. We ask for high quality, almost perfection in our products. But the other end of it is, who do we receive our merchandise from? And a lot of people say, where does this come from? How did you get this? And it's word of mouth. It's people just picking up the phone, because there aren't a lot of consignment stores in Memphis. That was one thing I was really surprised at, that a lot of cities, most cities our size, have quite a few. Memphis, I thought, well, I'll jump in there and be the first one. And I jumped in there, and there really wasn't anyone. And there really hasn't been too many that have at least stayed in business. Yeah. So I do get phone calls from all different kinds of people, all different walks of life. And the first thing they do is they send me pictures to see what their furniture is. And I have learned that photography is a wonderful thing, but it doesn't always tell the truth. So what the camera sees isn't exactly what we see. So I remember when the first year I was in business, I was really just looking at pictures, and someone sent in this beautiful sofa. And the fabric looked good, everything, close up and everything. It was a great style. And I said, okay, we'll take it, set up the delivery and get it in. And I remember when the delivery guys were bringing it in, and it was one man holding it like this. It was a dog bed. And literally, it was, it was this big, but in the photograph, she took an angle that it looked life-size. I had nothing to go by. So that taught me a lesson. One of my first lessons is if it's important, you need to see it yourself. So
Yes.
I go out to the homes and see the furniture.
And can you send me the dimensions on that?
Yes, I do. I've learned.
Measure that for me.
Yeah, I still make mistakes. I got 2 end tables in that I thought, those look nice little, they came in, they were huge. Huge, yes. And it was just a glitch,
Well, which leads us to some of the challenges that you have faced in your business. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things that are just a challenge and have maybe.
It's always a challenge because people can say, I have my receipts and what I paid for in this item.
Yeah.
And I can look at it and see it's a valuable piece of furniture. I know it has a pedigree. I call it pedigree. It has a label. What I have to do is to see what I can sell it for in this market, in this city.
Yeah. At this time.
Right. And the challenge is to really guess at what that number is going to be. I can get an idea from being open since 2012 of what I think it could sell for, but one person could walk in the door who looks at it and says, "Oh, I want that, and I don't care what it costs."
Well, isn't that the old saying? When someone says, "What's it worth?" The answer is, "Whatever someone will pay for it."
Exactly. And so I don't have a crystal ball to know if that person is going to walk in. And I don't know what that person is going to be willing to pay. It's a guess. It's an art more than it is a science. And the art of connecting with your client and your customer and making everybody happy.
It's almost like dating. You don't know if it's going to work out, but when they walk in the door, maybe there's something here you'll like. And
exactly.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but I do try to respect all the furniture. Sometimes it's like I almost feel like I'm an adoption agency because some items are very important to people. They have meaning to them. They have history to them, and I respect that. I guess because I grew up in it, I respect furniture. And it's a work of art to me. And it means something to me. So when someone says, "Would you sell this chair for me?" It's really special. I'll say, I will do my very best to find someone who will purchase your chair. And I stage it and I decorate around it and I will fix it up if it needs a little, care and tending to, and try to find the right person to adopt it.
Yeah. I was getting ready to say it's kind of like, finding it a home.
Finding a new home. And that is that my hope is that I can make the client and the customer happy. Okay. And me make a little something in between so I can keep my doors open.
Keep your doors open. Yes. So what advice might you give to someone who's thinking about starting a business, whether that's in furniture retail or just any business? What words of advice might you have?
Oh, the first word that comes to my mind is be flexible. I had a definite idea after going to Atlanta and different cities and looking at consignment stores what I wanted to do. I wanted contemporary furniture. I wanted high-end furniture, but I also wanted to do mid-century. Well, at the time, back in 2012, Memphis really wasn't purchasing mid-century. They were in the rest of the country, but Memphis was a little behind on that. And I got in some great pieces, but it didn't really work. The other thing I did was modeled after a place in Atlanta was they had new as well as consigned. And I tried that. It didn't work. And that's the second thing. If you try it at one stage of your life in your business and it doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you can't revisit it because timing is everything. It did work later on for me to do that. But don't be so set in what you think is going to, the vision of what you think the business is supposed to look like and the way it's supposed to behave and produce, because it may not. And you have to treat it like you would if you were raising a child. And that child doesn't always grow up to like things that you like or be the person that you are. It's its own individual. And you have to be flexible and understand that. So you change.
Yeah.
Change.
You have to be flexible. You have to be able to change and to modify what you thought was going to work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Modify is a good word. Those are good words, yes.
We like good words. I'm a journalism grad. So talk to me about the favorite part of your business. What's the favorite thing when somebody walks in or something happens and you just think, oh man, I love this?
Making the sale, making it work, making that person happy and they come back to me bringing me pictures showing, look how good it looks. I had a lady in just the other day. She says, you can use this as an ad because my room has everything from your shop and it looks fabulous. And she was so proud, and it really did look good. She did a great job. Yeah. That's very rewarding, and knowing that I've accomplished what I needed to do. I've made the client, the seller happy, the buyer happy, right. And it worked. Yeah, yeah. I also have fun staging. That artist part of me. It's fun to do a room and make everything look really good and shine. And
in our business, sometimes it's just that one little thing that you add or you change, and it's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Beautiful, love it.
Yes.
That's exciting. Mm-hmm. So, what would you want someone to know about DCI? If you had one thing or a couple things, just what do they need to know about DCI?
First, they just need to come see it. You just need to come. I've had so many people say that there's nothing like this in Memphis. I've had people say, well, if you were in Chicago, this would be, gangbusters. And I think it's... my marketing could probably be better because I think if people do see it, they will like it. I say, come before you buy that sofa or that chest or this piece for your home, come to my store first because you may just find it and find it at a much better price, at a much better value for what you're getting.
And it may be a little more interesting and fun than what you would find off the rack, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So what's up next for DCI? Is there anything new and exciting coming up? What do you?
Oh, always.
Good answer.
Have to ask
Good
me
answer.
To come back, and then I'll tell you.
Tell me what's new in 2024.
I will tell you.
And was there anything else that we didn't touch on other than let's take a look at this painting? We talked about your gallery.
Yeah, this is by Shelley Hopkins. She actually was one of my original artists that I had at DCI Gallery when I was just a gallery. But I've maintained her work, and she shows in different cities around the South, mainly. And I think she's a very talented artist. Her colors and her palette are good.
Beautiful. And
she's quite an accomplished artist. She's had a good career.
This might look good on your wall. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And I guess lastly, other than thanking you again for spending time with us, if someone is looking for you, how do they find you?
They find us at 776 Brookhaven Circle East. They find us on the website.
What is your website?
It's DCIMemphis.com.
Okay, DCIMemphis.com, and your phone number
is 767-8613. Don't ask me too many numbers.
No more questions? That's it? Look, I'm with you. No one remembers their own phone number anymore because I don't call it.
Well, I do remember it, but occasionally I'll have that glitch. All of a sudden, what was that?
I look at the bottom of my signature, or I just, what's on my phone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When was my third child born? What year was that?
What was that?
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, you name them all correctly.
Yes.
And not after the first or second try.
Right.
It happens. So, well, Terry, thank you again for joining us on the Brookhaven Circle. Thank you all for watching, and please subscribe and send us any feedback that you have, unless it's negative about the host, because we already know he's bad. He doesn't need that, but thank you. So send your kind remarks in, and we'll be back soon with another episode of the Brookhaven Circle. Thanks for joining us on the Brookhaven Circle. Please subscribe to our podcast and send us any questions or comments you have. The Brookhaven Circle is produced by V2 Media, a part of the business community on Brookhaven Circle.